I want you to picture a specific sensation. It's a Tuesday, it's raining, you're running late,
Mm-hmm.
you spill coffee on your shirt, you get into the car, and the traffic is just gridlocked.
Yeah.
Then your phone buzzes with an email from a coworker that feels incredibly passive-aggressive,
Oh, yeah. I know that email.
and suddenly you feel it. And it isn't just annoyance, it's a physical sensation of shrinking. It feels like the world is closing in on you.
Right.
Your chest gets tight. Your vision actually feels like it's narrowing. You feel trapped in a box, and the walls of that box are made of other people's incompetence and your own frustration.
It is such a visceral feeling. And it's not just in your head, it's in your biology. We often call that stress, but that word is almost too small for it, isn't it?
It really is.
It's a state of like physiological siege. You feel small because chemically, your body is preparing you to fight inside a very small cage.
Exactly. It's survival mode.
Oh,
But we're in survival mode over something completely trivial, like a slow barista or a rude comment on social media. But then there's this other state. And if you felt it, even for a moment, you remember it forever. We're calling it the greater world.
okay.
It's a state where the exact same things are happening. The traffic is still stopped. The shirt is still stained. But you feel spacious.
Yeah.
You feel calm. You feel like you are the one holding the remote control, not the one on the screen getting zapped.
That shift from that, claustrophobic reactive box to that spacious commanding perspective, that is the entire focus of our discussion today. We're continuing our series on James Allen's 1903 classic, As a Man Thinketh. But we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to take his somewhat mystical concept of the greater world, and we're going to crash test it against modern neuroscience, behavioral psychology, and classical stoicism.
We want to know if this is just poetic fluff or, is there a mechanical way to build this state of mind? We're going to look at the amygdala. We're going to look at acceptance and commitment therapy, and we're going to look at the specific habits that let you expand your reality.
Yeah, the goal is to give you the architectural blueprints to build that greater world. Because, as Allen argues, you don't find freedom. You forge it.
If this episode helps you, please hit like and subscribe for the next one.
So let's start with Allen's core thesis, because it's a big one. He says, as thought becomes disciplined, your world expands.
It's a beautiful line, but we need to unpack that. What does that actually mean?
Well, he uses this metaphor of the master weaver. He suggests that the human mind is a loom, and we're constantly weaving two garments. The inner garment is your character. The outer garment is your circumstance.
Okay.
And his argument, and this is, the controversial part, is that the outer world, the conditions of your life, are harmoniously related to your inner state.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate here immediately, because this is where people check out. It sounds like victim blaming. I mean, if I get laid off due to a corporate merger, or if I get rear-ended at a stoplight, or if I get a serious illness, are we saying my inner garment caused that?
Yeah.
Did I weave a car accident with my thoughts? Because that sounds like magical thinking, and frankly, it sounds cruel.
And that is the most common and I think the most important critique of this philosophy. And look, if we interpret Allen as saying you can telepathically control the universe, then yes, it's absolute nonsense.
Right.
But that's not what he's saying. I think we have to look at the distinction between the event and the reality of the event.
Break that down.
Let's take the car accident. Someone hits your bumper. That is the event. It's physics. Metal hitting metal. Allen isn't saying you magnetically pulled that car towards you, but your world, your experience of life in that moment, that is entirely shaped by the film in your mental projector. For one person, that accident is a catastrophic injustice. They scream, they rage, they spend weeks replaying the anger. Their world becomes a world of conflict and victimization.
I see.
For another person with a different inner weave, the accident is an inconvenience. They check for injuries, they exchange insurance, they feel gratitude that it wasn't worse.
So the greater world isn't a different planet.
Yeah.
It's the same planet, just viewed through a different lens.
Precisely. The screen of life is the same, but the film in the projector is different. I mean, if you project a horror movie, you live in a horror movie. If you project a drama of resilience, you live in a drama of resilience.
So let's try to define this greater world in really plain English, so we're not just speaking in metaphors.
Sure. So in plain English, the greater world is a frame of reference that is larger than your immediate circumstances.
Okay.
In the small world, you are defined by what happens to you. You're a thermometer. If the room is hot, you go up. If the room is cold, you go down. You have no temperature of your own. You just reflect the environment.
And the greater world. What's that?
In the greater world, you are the thermostat. You set the temperature. You live by principle, not by reaction. You choose the higher response rather than the automatic one. It implies a sense of sovereignty.
This connects directly to a concept in psychology called the locus of control, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. This was developed back in the 1950s. And psychologists distinguish between an external locus of control and an internal one. If you have an external locus, you believe life happens to you, you are a leaf in the wind. That's the small world.
You're just buffeted by every gust of news, every frown from a boss, every change in the economy.
Exactly. But an internal locus, that means you believe that while you can't control the wind, you control the set of your sail. You are responsible for your response.
And the research on this is pretty clear. Right?
It's overwhelming. People with an internal locus of control are consistently shown to be less prone to depression, more successful in their careers, and physically healthier.
So Alan, writing 50 years before that research, was basically saying, move your locus of control inside. Stop being a leaf. Start being the weaver.
That's it, exactly. He warns us that as long as you believe you are a creature of outside conditions, you will be buffeted. But the moment you realize you are a creative power, you become the rightful master of yourself.
I want to pivot to the small world for a moment.
Yeah.
Because I think we all know what it feels like, but I want to understand why we get stuck there. I mentioned that feeling of shrinking. What is actually happening in our bodies? Why does stress make us feel so small?
To understand the small world, we have to look at the HPA axis. That's the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. It's your body's central stress response system.
Okay, so let's get into the biology.
Yeah.
What happens when I read that rude email?
Well, it starts in the amygdala. That's the little almond-shaped threat detector in your brain. And it sees that rude email, and it misinterprets it. It doesn't see annoying coworker. It sees saber-toothed tiger. So it signals the hypothalamus, which signals the pituitary gland, which signals the adrenal glands.
And then the chemical floodgates just open.
Adrenaline and cortisol flood your system. And here's where the shrinking happens. It's not metaphorical. Your blood vessels literally constrict to raise your blood pressure, preparing you to run or fight. Your field of vision narrows, we call it tunnel vision, so you can focus only on the threat. And most importantly for our discussion, blood flow is shunted away from the prefrontal cortex.
The prefrontal cortex, that's the smart part of the brain, right? The CEO?
It's the CEO of the brain, exactly. It handles logic, empathy, creativity, long-term planning. When the amygdala hijacks the system, the CEO is locked out of the office. You literally become less intelligent.
Wow.
You lose the ability to see nuance. Everything becomes black and white. Friend or foe, fight or flight. You can't see the greater world because your biology has put blinders on you.
So when Alan talks about the vice of aimlessness and drifting into the small world, he's basically describing what happens when we let our lizard brain drive the car.
Yes. The small world is the default setting of our evolutionary biology. It is designed to keep you alive in a jungle, not to keep you happy in a civilization. If you drift, as Alan puts it, you will naturally drift into fear and reaction. To get to the greater world, you have to engage the higher mind. You have to override the default.
So what does that look like in daily life? Let's talk about the behavioral science.
Well, the biggest sign is living by moods. Alan is very, very firm on this. If your behavior depends on how you feel when you wake up, you are in the small world. You are being whipped around.
Can I give you a confession?
Yeah.
Yesterday, the dishwasher.
The dishwasher.
I walked into the kitchen. I opened the dishwasher. It was full and clean. My partner hadn't emptied it. And for about 4 seconds, I decided this was a statement on our entire relationship. I felt physically hot. I was ready to litigate the last 5 years of chore division. I was ready to go to war over a fork.
That is the perfect textbook definition of the small world. You took a plastic rack of clean plates and turned it into a Greek tragedy. You were being ruled by a transient flash of irritation.
It sounds so ridiculous saying it out loud, but in the moment, it felt like justice.
That's the trick of the amygdala. It feels like truth. Another sign is being ruled by noise and the opinions of others. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, has this biting line. He talks about the emptiness of applauding hands.
Right.
He asks, essentially, why are you so obsessed with the praise of people who don't even like themselves?
Oof, that's a brutal question.
It is. When we shrink our world down to, what does this person think of me? Or did I get enough likes on this post? Oh, we are voluntarily stepping into a cage. We are handing the keys to our happiness to strangers. That's the definition of a small life.
Okay, so we have the diagnosis. We are stuck in this biological loop of reaction, moodiness, and fear. The box is closing in. Now we need the cure. So if I'm feeling small, trapped, and reactive, how do I move to the greater world? What is step one?
Step one is to zoom out to the bigger frame. In modern therapy, specifically cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT, we call this cognitive reappraisal.
Unpack that for us.
Cognitive reappraisal isn't about lying to yourself. It's not standing in the rain saying, I love the sun. That's delusion.
Right.
Reappraisal is about widening the lens to see the situation more accurately.
Okay, give me a specific tool here. Zoom out is a bit abstract.
Okay, try the 10-10 rule. When you feel that chest tightness like with your dishwasher incident, ask yourself 3 questions. Will this matter in 10 minutes? Will this matter in 10 months? Will this matter in 10 years?
For the dishwasher case, 10 minutes. Yes, I'm annoyed. 10 months. Absolutely not.
Exactly. And the moment you realize it won't matter in 10 months, the amygdala starts to calm down. You've forced your brain to look at a longer timeline. You've exited the immediate threat box.
So you're changing the story from this is a catastrophe to this is a minor blip.
You're changing the frame. And this connects directly to the Stoic philosopher Epictetus. He taught the dichotomy of control.
Some things are up to us, some things are not up to us.
It's so simple, but it's profound. The traffic, not up to us. The weather, not up to us. The rude email, not up to us. Our judgment of those things.
Not up to us.
That is up to us. When you zoom out, you stop trying to control the traffic and start controlling your view of the traffic. That is the doorway to the greater world.
I love that. So step one is changing the frame. But just looking at things differently isn't enough. We need a direction. What's step two?
Step 2 is to return to values and purpose. This draws heavily from acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT. In ACT, there's a huge distinction made between goals and values.
I feel like most people use those words interchangeably. What's the difference?
So think of it this way. A goal is an island. You can put it on the map. You can sail to it. You can arrive. You can say, I did it. But you can also crash before you get there.
Right.
Or you can get there and realize it's a barren rock.
Okay, so goals are destinations. What's a value?
A value is a star, like the North Star. You can never arrive at the North Star. You can never say, I have achieved west. You just keep sailing west. It's a direction of travel.
So a goal is get the promotion, and a value is be industrious and creative.
Exactly. And here's why this matters for the greater world. If your happiness depends on hitting the island, the goal, you're vulnerable. But if your focus is on the star, on the value, you are safe. Even if a storm blows you backwards, you are still facing west. You are still the person you want to be.
That's the steadfast heart that wisdom literature talks about, being the rock amidst the waves.
Yes. Alan talks about finding the centralizing point of your thoughts. If they're scattered on outcomes, will I get the money? Will they like me? You drift. If they are centered on a value, I will be honest. I will be kind. You're steady.
Okay, so we've zoomed out, we've anchored in values, now we need to actually move. Step 3 is choose the next right action.
This is where the rubber meets the road. And we can look to James Clear and the science of habits here. The question you ask yourself isn't, how do I fix this entire mess right now?
Because that's overwhelming.
It is. The question is, what would a person who lives in the greater world do right now?
You're casting a vote for your identity.
Precisely. James Clear talks about identity-based habits. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. If you want to be a person of health, choosing the apple over the cookie is a vote.
And it doesn't have to be some huge, heroic act, right? We're not talking about saving a burning building.
No, it shouldn't be a huge act. It should be a micro habit, a soft word instead of a sharp one. Taking 3 deep breaths instead of sending the angry email. These are tiny actions, but they break the chain of reactivity. They prove to you that you are in charge.
Step 4 seems like the cleanup phase. Remove contradictions.
This is so crucial, and it's the step most people skip. You cannot build a greater world while holding on to small world habits. Alan calls this weeding the garden.
I love his gardening metaphors. They're so visual.
They're accurate, you know. If you want to grow roses, thoughts of kindness, peace, success, you can't let the weeds of resentment, gossip, and aimlessness choke the soil. You have to actively pull them out.
And this is painful because we love our weeds. We love our doom scrolling. We love complaining.
We do. We get a dopamine hit from them. Complaining feels good in the moment. It bonds us with other complainers, but it poisons the soil. To enter the greater world, you have to ruthlessly eliminate the inputs and behaviors that contradict the person you're trying to be.
You have to stop watering the weeds.
Exactly.
Let's make this concrete. We have these 4 steps. I want to apply them to 3 specific areas: work, relationships, and habits. Let's start with work.
Work is a classic small world trap. It's defined by panic, urgency, everything is a fire, I am behind. It's a state of constant low-grade terror.
I live there sometimes. So, applying the greater world method, what do we do?
First, zoom out. You get a crisis email. Use the 10-10-10 rule. Is the company going to fold because of this? Probably not. Second, anchor in values. Maybe your value is calm, execution, or reliability.
Okay.
You decide, I am the person who stays cool when others panic.
So instead of rushing to reply, you pause.
You pause. And here's a specific tool. The implementation intention, or the if-then plan. You make a rule. If I receive a stressful email, then I will stand up, take 3 breaths, and wait 5 minutes before drafting a reply.
That's the next right action.
Yes, and the remove contradiction might be turning off your instant notifications. You can't be a calm executor if your pocket is vibrating every 14 seconds.
Okay, let's talk about relationships. This is the big one. The small world of relationships is drama, keeping score, trying to control what other people think.
It is exhausting. It's a constant battle for dominance or validation.
So what does the greater world look like here?
It looks like guarding the heart. There's a powerful story about a woman who gossiped maliciously about another villager. Later, she felt guilty and went to a wise man to ask how to fix it.
I think I know this one.
The wise man told her to take a feather pillow, cut it open, and scatter the feathers to the wind. She did it. She came back, pleased with herself. Then he said, now go gather every feather back.
Which is impossible.
Exactly. You cannot control the feathers once they're released. The greater world approach focuses on what you can control, your own integrity.
So if someone is rude to you,
you zoom out. This rudeness is a reflection of their inner state, not mine. You anchor in values. I value dignity and kindness. The next right action is to respond with a soft word, or perhaps silence. You refuse to let their mud dirty your water.
And the remove contradiction here might be to stop gossiping yourself.
Absolutely. So if you value trust, you can't participate in tearing others down.
Okay, third example, habits. Specifically, our digital lives. The small world is impulse-driven. It's just seeking that dopamine hit.
It's the hungry ghost mode. Never satisfied, doom scrolling, checking your phone every 30 seconds.
So how do we apply the greater world here?
We use the Stoic concept of prosoche. It means attention. The Stoics believed attention was a precious resource, a currency. In the small world, you are letting pickpockets steal your currency all day long.
That's a terrifying image.
In the greater world, you claim sovereignty over your attention. You zoom out and realize, this app is designed to monetize my anxiety. You anchor in values. I value focus and presence. The next right action is to put the phone in a drawer for an hour.
And the contradiction to remove is the app itself.
Delete it. You're taking back the keys to your own mind.
I love that word, sovereignty. It's about being the monarch of your own mental kingdom.
Exactly.
Okay, I want to walk our listener through a real-time exercise. We call this the Greater World Reset. If you're listening, you can do this right now.
This is a guided cognitive protocol. It's designed to snap you out of the small world and into the greater world in about 2 minutes.
Step 1. Identify the situation. What is making you feel trapped or small right now?
Don't judge it. Just name it. I am stressed about money. I am angry at my spouse. I am overwhelmed by my to-do list. Just locate the pressure point.
Step 2. Name the small world story you're telling about it.
Yeah, what's that reactive narrative? They are disrespecting me. I will never get this done. This is unfair. Be honest. What is the whining voice in your head saying?
Step 3. Replace it with a bigger frame statement grounded in principle.
This is the shift. Find a statement that's true and empowering. I cannot control their manners, but I can control my dignity. Or, this workload is heavy, but I am capable of taking it one step at a time.
That shift in energy is palpable. Step 4. Choose one steady action you will do today to prove this truth.
Just one. If your frame is dignity, your action might be, I will speak calmly in the meeting. Make it small, make it concrete. Cast a vote.
Step 5. Remove one contradiction.
What are you doing that undermines your new frame? Are you complaining to a coworker? Stop. Are you avoiding looking at your bank account? Log in. Pull one weed.
And finally, step 6. Close with a short inner script.
This is your mantra for the day. I am the architect of my response. I am the master of my attention. I choose the greater world. Say it to yourself.
It's amazing how walking through those steps changes the temperature of the problem. It doesn't solve the external problem immediately,
Right, the debt is still there, the work is still there.
but it solves the internal panic.
And that is the point. You solve the internal panic so you can solve the external problem. You can't solve a complex problem with a panicked brain. The greater world is not just a happier place, it is a more effective place.
Now, as we try to implement this, we're going to screw it up. We're human. What are the common mistakes people make?
There are 5 big ones I see constantly. Mistake. 1 is thinking the greater world means ignoring reality.
Everything is fine. The house isn't burning.
Right, that's delusion. The greater world means facing reality with a wider perspective. You see the fire, but you don't run around screaming. You grab the hose.
Mistake 2.
Trying to force others into your greater world. You learn this stuff, you feel great, and then you start judging your spouse for being reactive.
Why aren't you being stoic right now? Why are you in the small world?
Exactly. That's actually a small world behavior trying to control others. The fix is to focus entirely on your own inner rule and your own example.
Mistake 3.
Expecting perfection immediately. People try this for a day, get angry at traffic, and think, well, I guess I'm not a stoic.
The all-or-nothing trap.
The fix is to view it as gardening. You don't pull a weed once and expect it never to come back. It takes daily tending. It's a practice, not a destination.
Okay. Mistake 4.
Relying on motivation instead of discipline. Waiting until you feel like being calm.
I never feel like being calm when I'm angry.
Exactly. Motivation is an emotion. Discipline is the shelter you build. The fix is to use those if-then plans we talked about. Automate your good responses.
And a final mistake.
Letting a single failure send you back to the small world. You mess up, you lose your temper, and then you spend 3 days beating yourself up. I'm such an idiot.
The shame spiral.
Shame is a small world emotion. The fix is self-compassion and an immediate reset. The path to the greater world is built by returning. It's not about never leaving. It's about how quickly you come back when you wander off.
That is such a relief to hear. The path is built by returning. So let's bring this all home. Let's recap the key takeaways.
Okay, we can boil this down to 7 points to carry with you.
Let's do it first.
First, remember that disciplined thought expands your reality. You are the master weaver.
Next.
Second, recognize the small world trap of reaction, moodiness, and being jerked around by others. Third, when stress hits, zoom out. Use that 10-10-10 rule to find a bigger frame.
Point 4.
Fourth, anchor yourself in your values, not your temporary feelings. Remember the stars, not the islands.
Point 5.
Fifth, choose the next right action. Cast one small vote for your desired identity.
Sixth.
Sixth, ruthlessly remove the contradictions. Weed the garden of the thoughts and behaviors that keep you small.
And finally.
And seventh, practice the greater world reset whenever you feel trapped. Name the story, change the frame, and take action.
This has been a profound discussion, and we are not quite done with James Allen yet.
No, we have 1 session left. Episode 12 will be the capstone. We're going to look at final summary and practical takeaways.
So we're going to take everything we've discussed in this series, from thought and character to serenity, and lock it all into a permanent system.
Exactly. It's going to be the blueprint for the whole philosophy.
You won't want to miss it.
I am looking forward to it.
Thanks for being here. If you want the full series, check the playlist, and please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.